Vote That Jawn.
Hello. Hi. I'm Agatha Andrews, and I'm 61 years old. Voting is important to me because democracy is really important to me. The idea that the legitimacy of the government comes from the people, that we have a direct say. And I guess each individual vote feels so small, and yet the concept is so huge and so important and so central. I don't think there's any other way to have a government for the people without, not that a vote assures that, but without the vote, I don't think we can have that. Gerrymandering is it's when the party that holds the majority in the legislative body, but if the legislative body holds the power to draw its own districts, then essentially the people who are in office are actually choosing their voters rather than the voters choosing the people in office. That's what happens, but it's gotten so much worse with data mining and mapping technologies over the past couple of decades. It's gotten, there's a tremendous power to gerrymander, to go block by block and house by house and pick your voters based on, pretty intimate knowledge of the voters. If you draw the district boundaries, correctly, you can basically make it so that you concentrate the voters who are not in your party, you concentrate them into a very few districts, and then make majorities for your own party, just slight majorities, just enough to assure yourself that you will be winning in lots and lots of districts, and it can completely distort the will of the voters. So that's what gerrymandering is. It is completely destructive to democracy. So I'm part of a grassroots group that's a 100% volunteer grassroots group called PA. And what we're working for with our humongous membership is to not allow the politicians who have been elected to draw their own boundaries, but instead to create what California and a couple of other states have, which is an independent citizens commission. This commission would draw the boundaries and therefore not be allowed to favor one party or the other. There's all kinds of mechanisms built in to make sure that the commission would be balanced and independent and would have no way of gerrymandering. Gerrymandering sort of takes away the will of people. It does take away stuff that makes people feel cynical, and it takes away their choices. If nobody's running except you at all, you have no choices. I mean, to me, this is a voting rights issue, clearly, right? If your vote doesn't count, then it doesn't really matter if you're allowed to go to the poll. This, in a way, is the issue that ties all the others together. If the people of the state of Pennsylvania are not being heard and listened to, then we can't change any of the other things we want to change. Without this change, nothing changes. If you can't get the gerrymandering, you can't affect change. I think that the hopeful thing right now is that this issue has become so popular. Like, most people now, if you mention gerrymandering to them, really, in the state of Pennsylvania, it begins to seem that most people know what you're talking about. They don't necessarily understand all the details of it because it is pretty wonky and complicated. So there's hope. There's hope because people are more aware and there's more pressure, and and state by state, it is shifting. There have been a lot of changes, and I think that there's real hope that we're actually sort of, as a nation, that we've kind of turned a corner.